I'm actually outside the Wallace Tower, here at the corner of Seaton Park in Old Aberdeen. You can probably hear the traffic running up and down Tillydrone Avenue. And I'm now about to tell you about why it's the Wallace Tower and why it's got nothing to do with William Wallace. We're walking towards it, and you can see there is an effigy of the man whom it was designed for. And that man is Robert Keith of Benholm, and he was the brother of George Keith, the 5th Earl Marshal, the same man who founded Marischal College back in 1594. This tower was actually built in 1588. Again, that makes it 16th century. So from 1588, it stood on a triangle-shaped piece of land on the Netherkirkgate, just above Carnegie's Brae. And Netherkirkgate again starts at the foot of Broad Street and goes right down to St Nicholas Kirk. Hence, Netherkirkgate literally means Lower Church Road, and that's exactly what it was. And you can still follow the track of it today, but the Marks and Spencer store is standing in the way, and that might give you a clue as to why our Wallace Tower is standing here to this day. So Wallace has nothing to do with William Wallace, even though some people mistook the effigy for the Guardian of Scotland. It actually has to do with the Well House, because the Well House actually stood in that corner. When this stood on Netherkirkgate, the wall that faced down Carnegie's Brae, or Pudachi side, was where one of the main city wells was. There were actually 6 wells that were attached to the Cardenhoch Spring. I've talked about this before in relation to the Fountain Hall Cistern House that is now in Duthie Park. In 1706, William Lindsay Goldsmith was involved in the first public water supply for Aberdeen, and one of the wells that would be used for the public was placed here, right outside the back of the Wallace Tower. So, in Scots, we say wal for well. So wal, house, Wallace. You can understand how English speakers not from Aberdeen got that corrupted into Wallace, and hence Robert Keith was forgotten and William Wallace more associated with it. Again, probably much more likely once we got the Wallace statue in Aberdeen, and that's a story for another day. So why is the tower now in Seaton Park? Well, I mentioned M&S, that's a wee clue. Marks and Spencers came to Aberdeen and bought up the old Raggy Morrison's, or to give it its correct name, the Morrison's Economic Stores, in 1962. Now, they operated out of Morrison's old shop, which had been there for an extremely long time, at least 200 years. And they didn't want the old, very early Georgian drapery, so they decided, let's knock it down. And, of course, the Wallace Tower was standing right in front in the way where they wanted to build. And the council, in their infinite wisdom, said, yes, just knock it down. Just knock it down? Really? Well, of course, many people did not want that to happen. And the man who spearheaded the campaign to protect the tower actually was one of our local history lecturers, one W.S. Simpson. Now, he spearheaded the campaign to protect the tower. Eventually, he was able to get an audience with Lord Marks, the chairman of Marks and Spencers. Dr. Simpson had explained the significance of the tower being Robert Keith's house, and it was originally called Benham's Lodging, and how important it was to the city's history. And Lord Marks was horrified that it had been agreed to knock it down. And an agreement was reached that the tower would be taken down brick by brick and rebuilt here in Seaton Park. And of course, why Seaton Park? Well, for one, Robert Keith owned property here in Seaton, and Dr. Simpson would have known that. So it's very likely that's why it ended up here. There are photos that show how craft masons were employed to remove the bricks and number them all and rebuild the tower here in Seaton Park.